Okay, we are live. Even though the internet, as I am streaming, is pretty delayed and we're not entirely sure we're live, we're going to pretend that we're live so that we're not like kind of just looking up in space the way you kind of see sometimes when people start off with podcasts. So, all right, I think we're live now. Yep. RJ, how's your Friday?
Good. Lots of good food.
You? A lot of good food?
Yeah.
It's black.
Yeah.
That's how this Friday is. So, welcome again. Paul here, CEO and co-founder of Edge, joined with RJ, who heads up our
Q&A support.
QA and support. So if you have any questions or trouble using Edge or using crypto in general, he's a guy to talk to. Just give us a call or shoot us an email to support.edge.app. And so a couple things we're going to talk about today. So today, for those of you who are in the US, it is
Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Black Friday. Guys.
Happy Black Friday. Happy day after Turkey Day, day after Thanksgiving. And so we'll talk about some of the great stuff that we're doing for Black Friday, as well as the general crypto industry and other cool projects that are offering great Black Friday deals. Right. And as well, the past week since we last did our Friday Q&A, we saw yet another centralized exchange hack. So we're going to actually talk about that first, basically the list of hacks. We're going to revisit the different hacks on centralized exchanges that have happened in the course of this year. And as you'll realize, there's quite a few, and it just kind of keeps going on and on.
Yeah, it just keeps piling up.
Piling up year after year, which, in some cases it's not super drastic to the users, and in some cases it can be.
Right.
Just another reminder that this is a thing that's happening all the time. It'll continue happening. Some big companies, some small companies, and Upbit being the most recent one. But let's kind of recap 2019.
Yeah.
Shall we? As far as the exchange hacks, since 2019 is almost over, let's hope, just for the sake of industry and for people's funds, that this is
hopefully
this is the last one. Hopefully Upbit's the last one.
We'll see. Let's see if there's a December hack.
There's still a whole nother month left.
Yeah.
But to kick off 2019, we saw the hack of Cryptopia.
Right.
And so they went kind of dark in January 15 of this year, which is interesting because I had actually just seen the Cryptopia guys a few months prior at World CryptoCon.
Oh, okay.
And they were just, going gangbusters. They were growing. They were super proud. Had a whole team out there in Vegas, super far away from New Zealand, where they're based out of. And it makes you realize, just like at a snap of a finger.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, things can change. And so for Cryptopia specifically, they had what was estimated as about a $16 million hack. And so it hasn't been clear exactly how it happened.
Right.
But they basically were hacked, had to file for bankruptcy, went into liquidation, and from the news that we could see, we don't believe any funds were recovered, or at least not all user funds were recovered. And so there definitely was some user loss in that.
I'm sure it hurt a bit.
It definitely hurt for some number of users, and they were the biggest exchange out of New Zealand. Now, granted, New Zealand is a fairly small jurisdiction. They're not nearly as big as obviously the U.S., UK, and other parts of Europe, but they were seen as a large and respectable company in that country, and yet, in blink of an eye, they were gone, as well as some user funds.
Right. And then the next one we have on the list is Dragon X, shortly right after that, and that happened back in March 24, and they lost about $7 million in this security breach, and it appears they have not yet reimbursed all of the users, but it does say something about their working on a compensation plan to reimburse the victims. So hopefully that plays out. We'll see how that goes.
And that one was specifically the coins that were lost there were, from what we can gather, this is actually thanks to an article here on CoinDesk, but it was Tether and apparently their own Dragon token. So a lot of exchanges have their own token, kind of like Binance. Yeah. Binance has their own coin, and apparently this exchange did as well, and $7 million were lost. They don't appear to have refunded the users, at least not entirely, and in Tether and Dragon token. All right, and the next, one of the actually significantly largest exchanges in the world, BitThumb, also in March lost $13 million of EOS. Now, interestingly enough, EOS is an interesting currency to steal. Yeah. It isn't one of my first choices to steal, because it costs money to create an EOS address, making it harder to tumble. Yeah. It's harder to mix.
You can't just spam create wallets.
It's hard to spam create, thousands of wallets. Now, granted, back when it was hacked, it was cheaper to create a wallet in EOS, a few dollars. Ironically, this goes into an issue that we mentioned, I think, last week about the EOS network.
Yeah, because of the airdrop, it's a little bit, it's experiencing a lot of network traffic. So we're seeing a lot higher fees and just creating a new EOS wallet.
Yeah, so creating EOS wallet right now, at least with the staking that's required to do a good number of transactions per day, and there's not a specific number. In Edge, when you create an EOS wallet, we require payment in Litecoin or Bitcoin, which then gets converted to EOS and staked so that you are able to do some number of transactions that are, what a regular consumer would do, maybe a few transactions a day. And it had peaked at maybe almost $300.
At its peak, yeah.
At its peak, but we've seen it as low as 30 and fluctuating to about 100. We know there is this airdrop where people can mine this token on EOS, but they have to use the staked resources that they have on their EOS wallet and account in order to do so. And so that's causing huge price and network congestion on EOS. But at the time, we're digressing here, but this is related to the BitThumb hack, which took $13 million of EOS. In order for them to tumble it and hide it from users, they would have to create multiple different accounts and have to pay for those different EOS accounts. But in the end, if $13 million, if you spend a few $1,000s to tumble it, that's not so bad. But it's definitely harder than, say, stealing EOS or Ether. But anyway, so it's $13 million.
Another thing that's interesting, it looks like they lost like another $31 million in the prior year. So it looks like there was a second attack on them, on BitThumb.
Yeah, and the BitThumb is not a small exchange.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely have the resources to put into security, into protecting the funds, proper separation of cold, hot, and multi-sig wallets. Yet this is just a very, very difficult problem.
Yeah.
Right? This is not an easy problem to solve. And as we've said multiple times before, and I've mentioned when we give talks, securing digital currency in this kind of honeypot manner is something that we've never had to do before. And all of our security protocols, the security protocols that banks have,
the legacy system, they're
kind
using
of
it
don't apply.
like a castle. Right.
Yeah, but they don't really apply in this method. So we've been used to securing physical things in a centralized way, like a bank vault, and we're used to securing digital value in a way where the digital value is reversible.
Yes.
Right. So physical things are irreversible. You take it, you can't reverse a physical transaction. Digital has always been reversible. Now we're having to secure something that's irreversible, crypto, Bitcoin, in a centralized way. Never had to be done before. So that was BitThumb, 13 million of EOS. It's a South Korean exchange. Interestingly enough, EOS as well, they had actually had about 6 million stolen in XRP, which is also another interesting currency to steal.
Yeah.
It's a decent amount, but it's interesting currency to steal.
It's an account-based currency.
It's also another account-based currency where you have to stake some XRP to create an account.
Yeah, you'll have 20 stuck there.
Yeah, you have 20
so if you have multiple
stuck
accounts, you're going to have multiples of the 20s being stuck on there.
Exactly. So tumbling XRP can actually be a bit of a challenge. So surprising, but once again, if the money's worth it, people are going to go through the trouble. And the next one of the biggest in the world.
So this one shocked the world. So Binance, I'm sure most of you guys are aware of that one. That big hack was about $41 million that was lost through hackers. There was 2% of total funds that were in their, hot wallet at the time. And I think that's when hackers tried to wash all their stolen coins and make it smaller and smaller. But I think that's the time when you also made the token, was it? Or was it?
The BNB token?
Yeah.
So this is definitely after the BNB token had been created, because Binance has had the BNB token for a while.
Yeah,
They ICO'd that. But the exact funds that were stolen was Bitcoin. So obviously Bitcoin itself, it was over 4,000 Bitcoin or 7,000 Bitcoin that was stolen. That is something that is relatively easy to tumble. You can create Bitcoin addresses for free, thousands of them, and move coins into multiple outputs, then from those outputs to more outputs, and really hide the trace of where the funds went. So that was a major one. Fortunately for people, Binance being a very large exchange was able to keep people whole, at least in respect to this specific hack. But as we can see, companies like Binance can only handle so many of these breaches.
Right.
How much money do they have in the bank? Sure, they've got enough to cover this time around. But as we can see, it's a tough thing for them to deal with, and it can and potentially will happen again in the future. Now, another smaller hack that occurred out of Singapore was Bytrue. They lost about $4.2 million of user funds. They had once again targeted XRP, similar to what was targeted with, which one was this, BitThumb.
Yeah.
So $4.2 million of XRP and ADA, which is Cardano. That was $200,000 of Cardano that was hacked in that process. And this, however, went to a few different exchanges, and looks like there was a promise to refund users.
And it looks like they were able to freeze some of those funds on the exchanges.
On the other exchanges, because people were able to track them. And once again, both are account-based currencies, not UTXO-based currencies. So account-based currencies means that, generally speaking, you have one address for funds inside of a wallet. And it's a little bit harder to create multiple addresses, especially with XRP. And so that could have been the way that other exchanges were able to track the funds from the theft and freeze the funds before they actually got moved out to fiat or some other currencies. And so that one, there was a promise to refund users, but no confirmation that users were actually refunded.
Right. The intention is there, but not yet.
Yep, from that hack.
And then the next one we have is a Japanese exchange called Bitpoint. They lost $28 million back in July over the summer, and it hit about 50,000 users. After the hack, they promised to reimburse the affected users, but again, similar to the last one, we're not sure when that will take place or when that happened.
Yep, so once again, yet another one pretty much spanning the globe. We've got South Korea, we have the global exchange Binance, I think currently based out of Malta, but originally China.
Yeah. New Zealand, Japan, Singapore.
Yeah, a lot of the major cities. Now, none of these happen to have been U.S.-based companies, so we've been fortunate in that sense, not trying to claim that U.S. companies are any better at security. There definitely have been U.S. companies that have been hacked in the past, but it's been all over. And of course, ending with the reason why we're even mentioning exchange hacks
the most
recent one, which has happened just earlier this week since our last Friday Q&A, was Upbit. And this time, even bigger than the hack of Binance,
approximately 41 million.
This time it's $49 million hacked from Upbit. And this one was primarily Ether. About a little over $300,000, or 300 Ether were stolen in this hack. And so far, Upbit is claiming that they are going to be able to refund users, and make people whole. However, it has caused a halt of any trading and activity on the platform for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So realize that even if you're not affected financially from the viewpoint of access to those funds, you are affected from a usability.
Yeah, your funds are stuck, not your keys. You can't even get it out, even if it wasn't stolen.
Not stolen yet,
because they stopped.
They've got to stop trading. So if you want to actually move funds, say there's a big spike or a drop, and actually there has been a decent spike since the hack actually. So I think the hack that was back in November 26, and let's look at what the price of Ether was back on November 26. This will be an interesting little study for us here. So October, November 26th, we had this drop.
November 2018.
26 price of Ether was on average $152 per Ether, and it's up a little bit right now. It's peaked at about 154. So it's only gone up a little bit, but there's been a little bit of volatility in there. So fortunately, if it doesn't change much in the next several weeks, 2 weeks, because that's the reported shutdown, then you might be okay, right? No big volatility, but crypto. Very easy chance that it could go swing up or down 10-20% in the next couple of weeks, but your funds are locked and unable to be moved.
Yeah, you can't even get it out
in that period of time. So what is the overarching theme here?
What is the lesson to be learned?
What's the lesson to be learned, right?
Not your keys, not your money.
Yeah, not your keys, not your crypto, both from a usability point of view, a security point of view, and in many ways from an ideological point of view in the success of crypto and what it's meant to do. So we've got those handful of hacks. I didn't do the quick math in my head, but I think it's easily over 150 million in hacks.
And don't forget, some of the ones they didn't mention, maybe like Quadriga in Canada. That was this year. They should have included that one. Oh, yeah. And that's where the CEO supposedly killed himself. Was it in India, somewhere like that?
He supposedly had died.
So not killed himself, but
he had died and he had traveled to India before his death.
Yeah.
Happened to die in the city in India that is known for the most
Fake
amount
deaths.
of fake death certificates. Fake death certificates. And all of the funds were locked up in a laptop that only he had the password for.
Right.
So number one, really, really poor OPSEC and security from the viewpoint of Quadriga as a whole,
Yeah.
pretty much entrusting the founder with all of their user funds. These aren't even company funds.
Yeah.
So it's one thing if the founder had access to the company funds unilaterally, but these are actually user funds.
Yeah, user funds.
They're really, really, really poor op security for user funds at Quadriga. But that was a few $100 million.
Yeah.
I think that was actually bigger than the Mt. Gox hack, and that was pure loss. Like
Pure loss.
People did not get any of those funds
Not
recovered.
even like a haircut or a partial recovery.
Yeah.
No, not even a token. It's just gone.
Yep. And that was also not. It was not a small exchange. These aren't the tiny kind of pop up out of
They
nowhere.
were one of the most popular Canadian exchanges.
I think they were the last big exchange out of Canada,
Yeah.
Canada. Yep. So, all right, not your keys, not your coins. So hold your stuff in a software or hardware wallet where you control the keys. Obviously, Edge is a great solution there, and you can buy, sell, and
wouldn't
trade.
have been affected.
Yep, and you wouldn't have been affected to the same degree that a lot of people were through these different exchange hacks.
Right.
But that's kind of the black part of Black Friday. It's kind of like dark, bleak. Sorry to bring that up, folks, but I think it is an important reminder to be had that this is an important thing to talk about. But on a brighter note, even though it is Black Friday, is some of the stuff that you can now do with your crypto and money that kind of improves your well-being
And your privacy.
and your privacy. I think some of the best deals that we're seeing in Black Friday have to do with privacy, specifically VPNs.
Yeah, so there's a couple out here. So Proton Mail and VPN, they have a good deal where it's half off. So instead of normally it's $360, it's $180 for 3 years.
Yep.
So that's a pretty damn good deal. I love Proton Mail.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. If you value
I have a Proton
privacy.
Mail account.
Yep.
Exactly,
I vouch
for my own
them.
personal use. So if you're not familiar with Proton, this is not a sponsored segment. We're not a podcast that takes sponsorships or our own company.
Yeah.
Own company live Q&A to answer your questions. But Proton Mail is an encrypted mail service. So even though they can see when you create a Proton Mail account, you also create a password that encrypts your email. So they can still see email traffic that you send out of Proton Mail and any email traffic that you receive into Proton Mail from the outside world, like say from Google or Yahoo. But once it's received, it's stored on their system, encrypted with your password. Now, if you send from Proton Mail account to another Proton Mail account, that stays end-to-end encrypted. So they definitely value privacy, and there's limitations based on the protocol of email, but they implement as high of privacy and encrypted communications as they can in that regard. And then they have a second product, Proton VPN.
Yeah.
Which is a VPN that allows you to connect to the network, encrypted. Encrypted in the sense that the general internet as a whole, your ISP, doesn't know what websites you're visiting.
Right. They can't
Generally,
track you.
if you're already visiting a website that's SSL secured, has that little green lock, or in some
Yeah,
cases
so
a
the lock
gray
icon.
lock on your browser, then that's already encrypted so that your ISP can't see your traffic, but they can see where you're going.
Yeah.
And that's a fundamental difference. So by using a VPN, the ISP or the hotel internet where you might be, or your work internet, or anything that you're connecting to can't see where you're going. Although be aware that VPNs aren't 100% private in the sense that the VPN provider themselves can see where you're going.
And also, depending on the location, the VPN company can still give up some of the data, like certain
They can give up
information.
the data of what sites you're going to and what services you're visiting. They just can't see the exact data traffic.
Exactly.
So if they wanted to, yes, they could give up that information, especially if they keep logs or if they get subpoenaed. But overall, I'd say it's a better solution than just hitting the ISP traffic that you normally would when you're on your phone or on your computer.
Yeah.
So 50% off on Proton Mail plus Proton VPN. Over 3 years, it's from $360 to $180.
Right. And then this one's even a bigger deal. It seems like it's called Pure VPN, and theirs is 88% off, basically from $10.95 a month to $1.15 per month. But I think it's locked. You have to sign up with them for 5 years.
Yeah, so it's a
that's
5-year
the-
plan. So, but you're paying the equivalent of $1.15 per month for 5 years. So if I had to round down, that's $1. It's $12. $13 times 5, like 60 something, $60, $70 for 5 years. That's nothing.
Yeah, and that'll
You know?
be close to like over $120 in a year.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you sign up normally.
Exactly. And then, of course, one thing that we wanted to mention is obviously you're probably going to see a lot of Black Friday deals on like Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. So we just want to let you guys know you can still get even a bigger savings if you guys have heard of Purse. So you can get a big discount, usually 15 or 30%. And we're going to go over a little bit on how it works.
Yeah, so many people may have not heard of Purse, Purse.io.
Yep.
And we've been using Purse actually almost since we founded the company.
Yeah, even like when we bought our supplies and some of our table stuff.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So Purse is a site that allows you to get up to 15 to 20% off on Amazon. And people go like, wait, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Right.
How in the world?
Yeah, what's the catch?
What's the catch? How are you managing to offer this level of discount? And you do have to use Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah.
Like, and that's actually a necessity, and it's a key piece of this. It's not a company that just likes Bitcoin and is willing to give you 15% off to use
Right.
Bitcoin, because there's no reason for that.
But there's a function out of it.
There's actually a function out of it. So the way Purse works, and once again, this is not a sponsored piece here. It's just a product that I think is a compelling. Oops, my Siri suddenly thought it heard me saying something. Don't listen. Don't listen, Siri. Anyway, so the way Purse works is it effectively is a marketplace.
Yeah.
It's connecting people that want to buy things on Amazon with people that have credit on their Amazon account.
Yep.
So if you think about it, credit on your Amazon account is what I would call an illiquid asset, an illiquid currency. There is very little use of it other than buying stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
And you can't even transfer it to someone else. Like if you got any gift cards you got on Amazon, once you load that gift card into your Amazon account, it's stuck there. I can't give it to someone else.
Yeah, you can't gift it out.
Can't pay for rent. And there's an interesting thing that Amazon does for some of its services, API services. There's a service that they sell called Mechanical Turk.
Okay.
And it allows companies to basically interface with humans via an API. It's almost like programmable humans. And so you can have humans do things such as transcribing business cards or translating small chunks of words, clicking on buttons. And these are the things that would be hard for a computer to do,
Yeah.
especially transcription, but are relatively trivial and easy for a human to do. And so you're paying that human a little bit of money to do that service.
In Amazon credits, though.
And Amazon, well, to the developer that's paying Amazon, they pay using credit card or anything that they want. But then Amazon then goes and pays those people, and these people are all over the world.
Yeah.
And they're earning a few dollars here, a few dollars there. They could be in India, China, Bangladesh, you name it. And for Amazon to pay a small amount of money to these people would mean a huge amount of fees to do like a wire transfer, convert the money over into the local currency. So instead, they pay them in Amazon credits.
Right.
But as you might be aware, those Amazon credits aren't too useful to people in the middle of India.
Yeah. How are you going to get some stuff?
Well, what would you as someone in India, what's one of the, someone in the remote pieces of India, what's more valuable to you, like being able to pay your rent or to buy something on Amazon?
Pay rent.
Likely to be able to pay your rent.
Yeah.
And so what these people are doing instead of buying stuff on Amazon for themselves is they're literally buying stuff on Amazon and then selling them on the streets.
Yeah.
Like an expensive iPad, like a $1,000 iPad, selling on the streets, and then taking a 20-30% cut on the price because it's used at that point, right? You're not buying it from the original store, you're buying it used. And it's also more dangerous because you're having to go out in the streets.
You got to meet them in person. You might get robbed.
Hopefully it's not a dark alley. You're going to some safer cafe and whatnot. But it's also just more your time.
Yeah. It's more work just to get like actual usable money.
Yeah, you've used Craigslist before, right?
Yeah.
So how much time? How much? So we've bought and sold some of our equipment and monitors on Craigslist. How much of your personal time do you think it takes to sell one computer? Multiple hours.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, to sell one item on
Unless
Craigslist.
you get lucky off like one customer that's down and ready to go.
Super ready to go. Got the cash. They look at it, and they're not like
time.
assessing the quality of the computer that they're buying off. They're just like, I'll take it. But no one does that.
Yeah.
As soon as you know it's no longer from a store, you're going to want to assess the quality of the product. So. It takes up quite a bit of effort for these people out in the remote parts of the world to buy an iPad and sell it on the streets. Plus, since they're not in a developed country like the U.S. and in a major city, they don't get Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
they don't get it in a day.
Right.
It might take a week or two to get it shipped to them, potentially overseas shipped.
And they might have to still pay the extra shipping.
And they got to pay extra shipping, right?
Yeah,
So they're
it
probably
won't be
paying.
free.
But maybe they might save on tax, but extra shipping and the delays just to be able to turn their Amazon credit money that they were paid into money that they can use in the real world.
Right.
So what fixes this? So Purse fixes this by creating a marketplace where you, as someone in the developed world, like fortunate for us, can put up a wish list. You create a wish list of the things that you want to buy, and you put a link to that wish list on Purse, and someone else buys it with their Amazon credit.
Yep.
And when you put up that wish list, you're going to deposit some amount of Bitcoin that's about equal to the goods that you want minus a percent discount that you can choose. You could say how much of a discount you want. You want 5, 10, 15, 20%. And someone on the other side says, sure, I'll take that wish list, and then they get your Bitcoin after you receive the goods and verify that it's good. Yep. So there is this chance that someone tries to scam you and says, yes, I bought your product, and then you wait a few days and nothing arrives. And they say, oh, we clicked and had it shipped.
Yeah.
But don't release the Bitcoin.
Don't release the funds. Don't release the Bitcoin. Not yet.
Don't release Bitcoin until you receive the product and verify that that is what you wanted off your wish list. Mm-hmm. And then they receive the Bitcoin. And from there, they don't have to go out in the streets and sell that iPad. They could take that Bitcoin and then just convert it into the local currency using a local exchange. And there's Bitcoin exchanges everywhere.
Yeah, or a Bitcoin ATM locally.
Exactly. And obviously, hopefully, wherever they're at, maybe Edge is one of those solutions that they can use to sell their Bitcoin into local currency and save on that 30% cut from trying to sell a used iPad. Right. So it's a great, solid service. It gives benefit both ways, and I think that's the thing. Is like we're not exploiting the people that have this Amazon credit.
Yeah.
They want to use the service because it saves them time, energy, and safety, as well. It gives us the benefit of a discounted product and shopping experience.
It's a win-win situation.
Totally. So for those Amazon Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, if you can wait a little bit, usually it takes maybe a day or two for someone to buy the order, you could save easily 10-15%. The higher percentage you set of a discount,
the longer it'll take.
Yeah, because it'll be harder to find someone that's open to take that big of a haircut.
Yeah.
But if you want to save a little bit less, like maybe in that 5-10% range, there's likely someone else who would rather quickly go and make that purchase because it's a good deal for them.
And not only that, but we also make it easy. So like after you make your purchase, don't forget to refill your Bitcoins.
Yeah, exactly. So spend and rebuy.
Yeah, rebuy.
Right. So you can always use Bitcoin as
because the price might jump up. You want to have that initial Bitcoin that you just spent.
Yeah, especially if you're buying Bitcoin at say a 1% discount, or sorry, a 1% fee, but you're saving 10-15% on your purchase, then that's a net savings of 9-14%.
Yeah,
so it's a great way to just have Bitcoin flow through your wallet and actually use it and gain some advantage of it. And actually, that goes into what's actually one of the best Black Friday deals.
Yeah.
What's a product that people want more than televisions and discount iPods and whatnot?
Hardware wallets.
Well, actually, how about Bitcoin itself?
Actual
Bitcoin itself.
Right.
And so to end the show, best Black Friday deal, you can now buy Bitcoin.
Discounted, zero fees.
Zero fees if you're in the U.S. Well, Black Friday is kind of a U.S. promotion anyway, right? So zero fees for buying and selling. Yeah, selling, you could say that if you want to buy dollars. But buying and selling Bitcoin for today through Monday, Pacific time.
So Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, midnight. You can buy and sell Bitcoin and Ether and DAI and USDC thanks to our partnership with Wire, WYRE. At 0% fees. Normally the fee is 1%, now it's 0%. So it's a great opportunity to kind of plunk down a good chunk of cash at zero fees. Right. So if you feel like the price of Bitcoin's possibly going to trend up, or even if you think it's going to go down, because it's kind of pumped about 10% over the past few days. So you think it's going to go down, you could sell a bunch. While we'd rather you hodl, to each his own.
And now is a good time. So
exactly.
This weekend is a good time. We got till Monday.
Yep. And in addition to Wire, we also have a deal where we're shaving off 40% of the commission fees for buying and selling. This is globally with a credit card using Simplex. So our partner Simplex, great service that lets people use credit and debit cards globally in a ton of different countries and states as well, is offering 40% of off on the commissions. They can't cut it down to zero because a lot of those fees are just the credit card fees.
Yeah, the credit card fees.
And it's in the banks, and banks don't want to offer a Black Friday deal on credit card fees.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Banks don't ever have any Black Friday deals.
That's how they live.
That's how they live. They're like, heck no. So it's getting shaved down as low as we can. It's going to go from on average about 7% down to about 4 4.5%.
Yeah.
And this is
It's
including the
almost half
spread.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
it's
including
almost
the spread, right? A lot of people say our fees are this, but they're actually higher because of the spread. So this is the total spread that we can tell. So maybe about 4% for credit card and debit card purchases globally, even in places that don't know what the heck Black Friday is. So take advantage of the deals. With Wire, you can do an ACH transfer from your bank account to your bank account, 0 fees, and with Simplex, 40% off
Basically
on the fees.
almost half off.
Almost half off
Yeah.
on the fees from now through the end of Monday Pacific time, midnight.
Yeah.
Cool? Sweet deals. Take advantage of it. Thanks for listening. Last thing we usually cover.
Yeah, events. Let's
Events.
talk about where you're going next, Paul.
Where are we going to be? So, first of all, in about a week, Blockland Cleveland, second year running, is a cryptocurrency blockchain conference. Had great attendance last year. I'm looking forward to being there. I'll be speaking on wallets and exchanges over at Blockland. That's December 9th and 10th in Cleveland. And right after that, I'll be just bouncing off, headed to South America to Montevideo, Uruguay for Upbit Conf, and Upbit Conf is I think on their 5th year or 6th year running now. Super popular, the best Bitcoin conference in South America. They rotate countries every year. Sometimes they're in Argentina, sometimes in Brazil, sometimes in Colombia. This year, I think this is the first time that they're going to be in Uruguay and Montevideo, so I'll be there. That's December 12th and 13th. Definitely check it out. Right after that, I'm going to head to a couple meetups in South America. Going to hop over to Porto Alegre in Brazil,
Nice.
on
Brazil.
Saturday.
Wow.
Yep, Saturday, December 14th. It's a moderate-sized city over there in Brazil. It's super close to Monte Alegre, although it's unfortunately a long travel to
We
get
have
there.
quite a bit of users from Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil's been a popular spot, and so hats off to Dash and Dinero Rodrigo for providing some support for us in the Brazil community.
Thank you.
And then last, on Monday, December 16th, I'll be headed over to a meetup in Sao Paulo, one of the big major cities
yeah.
over in Brazil, and talking about Edge and the industry and crypto as a whole before heading back to the U.S. for the holidays. So recap, Blockland, Cleveland, December 9th and 10th, Montevideo, Uruguay, December 12th and 13th, Porto Alegre in Brazil, December 14th, and then Sao Paulo, Monday, December 16th. So hope to catch some of you folks over there, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, and don't forget, not your keys, not your
Not
money.
your coin. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Catch you next Friday.
See ya.
Cheers. Are we on mute? Yes. Okay.